Hi guys, That Song Review Guy here, and today on the last episode of Charts of the Past for this year, we look back at the 10 biggest selling singles of the 30th of November 1997. Kicking things off at number 10 is Elton John with Something About the Way You Look Tonight / Candle in the Wind 1997. Kicking off this list is the biggest selling single of all time, possibly never to be beaten, at least not in my lifetime. The double A side from Elton John, which was the biggest selling single of the year, has sold almost 5 million copies in the UK, 33 million copies worldwide, went to number 1 in almost every single country, has won a ton of awards, and is in the Guinness World Record books for being the biggest selling song of all time. Candle in the Wind was originally released by Elton John in 1973, but was rewritten and re-recorded after the unexpected and tragic death of Diana, Princess of Wales in 1997, after being fatally injured in a car crash in the Pont de l'Alma in Paris, France. The first track is a basic love song where Elton serenades the love of his life and how that person is basically the embodiment of everything that's perfect, to the point where he is unable to accurately describe this person. The instrumentation has a grand opening, a combination of electric guitars, brass instruments, keyboard, synths, strings and a piano, carrying on all the way through, creating a terrific piece of music. The strings swelling perfectly in the chorus, all with the drums, backing vocals and guitar providing enough of emotional kick that complement the vocal delivery perfectly. It's soft rock that doesn't wear out its welcome. The second track, like I said, contains the original lyrics of the 1973 version of Candle in the Wind, originally a song dedicated to Marilyn Monroe. Only here, the lyrics, "Goodbye Norma Jean, though I never knew you at all," were changed to "Goodbye England's Rose, may you ever grow in our hearts." And the lyrics pertain to the fact that because of Diana's untimely death, it highlights all the good in that person that has been lost. Nevertheless, because of everything that Diana did, her legend will never die out. It's a simple piano ballad with a soft string arrangement lingering in the background, and the lyrics are pretty much solid. Two good songs from Elton John. You didn't expect anything less, did ya? At number 9 is Ain't That Just the Way by Lutricia McNeil. With a career spanning 2 decades as of next year, American soul/pop singer Lutricia McNeil's career started off with great promise, with 4 out of her first 6 releases charting in the top 20. This song, a cover of the 1976 release from New York-based singer and model Barbie Benton, being McNeil's debut release, which peaked at number 6. After that, everything she released didn't even register a blip on the UK charts. She released 4 albums where only her debut made any sort of headway, cracking the top 20, and well, that's about it. The lyrics tell the story of Lutricia being infatuated with some man, a warm and gentle person who she decides is the perfect man for her. Nevertheless, instead of acting on impulse to get him inside of her, she decides not to act out. Now he's somewhere else, while she's ruined the times where she took his good nature for granted and never took the opportunity to make her move. Just wait there for a second while I check inside my sympathy bag. Yeah. Nothing. A soul/R&B track along with drums, lingering background piano, most notably in the chorus, and the opening few notes, a simple bass guitar that's simplistic and doesn't really provide any sort of real bounce or groove, kinda disjointed to be honest, with an accompanying background vocals, a song that for its time received critical acclaim, yet it's not aged all that well and is easily skippable. Next, at number 8 is Tell Him by Barbra Streisand and Celine Dion. Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston, Meat Loaf and Marion Raven, Mark and Sam. A duet with 2 mega powers in the music industry will always result in a metric buttload of sales, and the same happened with this collaboration of Celine Dion and Barbra Streisand. Both have sold a combined 450 million plus albums worldwide, have multiple top 10 singles and albums between the two of them, awards up the nose, both up there with the greatest of female singers ever, even if they have had some of the most insufferable songs of all time. The song is a call and response style song, with Celine swooning over some bloke who she fancies yet is deterred from pursuing him since she's intimidated by thoughts of him thinking her as weak. Who knows? Who cares? And that he's in love with someone else. Where Barbara comes into the song is the voice of reason telling Celine to stop being a wuss, get over herself, and tell Mr. Generic that she wants to be in his pants. A schmaltzy ballad along with the ever-present string arrangement that takes up the whole track, soft percussion and drums that start small and becomes heavier in the latter stages of the song, piano, a metronome that arrives in the second verse, and synths, all culminates in a rather long, drawn-out affair that is highly overrated and not worth repeated listens. Yeah, you've got two mega voices involved in the song and they play off each other very well, but it doesn't detract away from the fact that this song wears out its welcome pretty quickly with how drab it is. At number 7 is Lucky Man by The Verve. The Wigan-based rock group, most notable for their major smash hit song Bittersweet Symphony, have a career spanning 9 years, with 2 breakups in between these years, citing inner conflicts as being the main reason for this group's ultimate demise. Verve's second, third and fourth album charted in the top 20, the last 2 both peaking at number 1, and Urban Hymns, the group's third album, went 10 times platinum. They only scored 4 top 10 singles with 1 number 1 hit and have won 2 Brits and a Grammy. Lucky Man was the third release off of the album Urban Hymns, peaking at number 7 respectively. Dissecting the lyrics, the song reads as a reflection that lead singer Richard Ashcroft has made on his life, about happiness being an element that comes and goes for everyone, and while they're on the lookout for someone who they wish to spend that happiness with, ultimately it's the happiness and love that one has for themselves that matters the most. People will come and go, and whilst it's all well and good to have someone in your life to spend it with, as long as you love yourself for who you are, that's all the love you need. A sentiment that I personally can relate to rather easily, thereby making this song brilliant in my eyes. It's a chilled out guitar driven pop tune along with drums, a driving electric guitar that bursts into life near the back end of the track, a string arrangement, bass guitar. It's another great example that show why The Verve were one of the greatest Britpop groups of all time, and why Richard Ashcroft, in my opinion at least, is fucking brilliant. At number 6 is Never Ever by All Saints. One of the biggest staples in British music regarding girl group genre, All Saints, a 4-piece consisting of sisters Natalie and Nicole Appleton, Melanie Blatt and Shaznade Lewis, are considered one of the most successful girl groups of the 90s, scoring 9 top 10 singles, 5 of which went to number 1. Their first 2 albums went multi-platinum, their third going gold. All 3 albums have sold a combined 11 million copies worldwide, have won 2 Brits, 2 MTVs and an Ivor Novello Award, and all 4 girls have had varying success as solo singers after their first split in 2001. Reformed in 2006 only to break up again in 2009 before joining together again in 2013 for some live events. The song, written by Lewis, is directed at a particular person that has wronged her in a romantic sense, starting off with a spoken verse which sets up the song with the lady in question asking this person who's hurt her whether the reason that he strayed had anything to do with her, breaking off into the rest of the track where, despite the lady stating, "I'm sure I ain't done nothing wrong," despite being left in such a state, they'll persevere from this situation, and that it's this guy's actions that won't be the be-all and end-all for their pursuit of happiness. It's a song that's aged very well, even to this day, and definitely one of the highlights of the late 90s, not only in terms of the girl group market, but of pop songs in general. With a soul/R&B vibe, the opening piano chords along with the ladies harmonising, by the way, the vocals in this track work brilliantly one another and are one of the highlights of the track, accompanied by an electronic beat and synths, drums and electric guitar. It's a great little pop song and worthy of the accolades that this song has received. At number 5 is Torn by Natalie Imbruglia. Born in Sydney, Australia, Torn, which peaked at number 2, is widely regarded by many music listeners as Imbruglia's one and only smash hit song. Despite such thinking, Imbruglia's career in the UK hasn't been terrible by most standards, scoring 5 top 10 singles, 4 out of 5 of her studio albums have charted in the top 20, and she sold over 10 million album copies worldwide. Much like other songs that will be covered here, Torn was originally sung by an American alt-rock group called Etna Swap, before Imbruglia dropped it as her first solo release 2 years later. The song, much like the previous, tells the story of Natalie falling for a guy who she first thought to be the sweet, nice, warm person she believed to be, only for her perceptions to end up down the toilet despite not really expanding on what went wrong or what happened. Yet she's been left torn and pretty much wrecked with what has happened, invoking the image of somebody left bound, broken and naked on the floor. Like Never Ever, the song has also stood the test of time and is held up in high regards, and much like Never Ever, the song deserves it. Despite disheartening lyrics, the instrumentation is a bright, hearty sound with bright, strummed acoustic guitar strings, synths, drums, brief electric guitars that come into their element at the end of the song, and layered vocals in the chorus, culminating in another great track. Natalie's vocals are very strong here, connecting with the lyrics terrifically, which makes the song believable. At number 4 is Wind Beneath My Wings by Stephen Houghton. Born on February 1971, Stephen Houghton is more known in the UK as an actor in shows such as London's Burning, Holby City, and children's television programme Bernard's Watch. His incredibly brief music career pretty much began with covering this song that everybody thinks that Bette Midler was responsible for, even though the original was done by Texan-born singer-songwriter Bob Montgomery before becoming a commercial hit courtesy of British Kenyan pop folk singer Roger Whittaker, and ending with a cover of Lionel Richie's Truly, all within the space of under 4 months. You've all heard this song before, that I'm sure of. But in case you haven't, the song is this inspiring, sweeping ballad of the protagonist acknowledging this person who lurks in their shadow constantly, and despite them not receiving any sort of acknowledgement from others, and the protagonist takes all forms of glory and fame, this lurking figure is credited by our protagonist as being their hero, and that they'd be nothing without them. This version contrasts heavily from the Bette Midler version. Here the instrumentation is driven by picked acoustic guitar strings, along with electric guitars later on. A mix of electric and real drums, and a mix of other synthetic sounds. It's clear that little old Stevie doesn't have the chops to pull this song off. Midler's version has the unfortunate nature of having her voice swamped and sounding like she's singing through a toilet roll, but she gives the song purpose and makes it believable. Here Stevie is lackluster and delivers a karaoke style cover that, by all counts, is pretty embarrassing. At number 3 is Barbie Girl by Aqua. Oh god, I always knew this day would come. I was dreading it, but it was inevitable. Yes, I've endorsed this group in my 100th video, but here there is no excuse. Number 1 for 3 weeks, has sold over 8 million copies worldwide, sold over 1.83 million copies in the UK, making it the 13th biggest selling single in the UK since November 2012, was the 2nd biggest selling single of the year, and no matter how many worst songs of the 90s list that this song gets put on, it'll never wipe away this song's accomplishments. This is giving me a headache, so let's just get through this as quickly as possible. The female in this song is Barbie, the male is Ken, and underneath what seems to be a cutesy, harmless little song, dissect the lyrics, it's a creepy, uncomfortable track about two who wanna fuck each other. There's no other way of looking at it, is there? It depresses me to know that despite releasing some genuinely good Eurodance tracks, it's this one that's forever going to tarnish the name Aqua from now until the end of time. Horrible vocal deliveries, even worse lyrics, all culminating to create one of the worst songs in human history. And no, that is not me being hyperbolic. That is fact. At number 2 is Baby Can I Hold You /Shooting Star by Boyzone. If the title track looks familiar to you, that's because this is a cover of the Tracy Chapman original. One of those songs that, at least for me, only the original artists themselves should ever sing. And here, the Irish boy band Boyzone find their way back into this segment, with this double A side being their second release from their 3rd studio album. The track peaked at number 2 and stayed in the top 75 for a total of 14 weeks, becoming the 26th biggest selling single of 1997, was certified gold in UK, having sold over 400,000 copies, and was the 9th biggest selling boy band single of the year. It's a song where the lyrics read as an apology. The lead in the song has been wronged by their previous lover, and while they acknowledge that they've done wrong, they cannot bring themselves to verbalise their forgiveness. It's a great song, no doubt about it, but it's one that works with one person singing, and Boyzone don't hold a candle to Tracy Chapman. The original was driven by acoustic guitars, electric guitars, bass, drums, a brief synth keyboard, and synth strings, whereas the lads' versions replace all of that with fake picked guitar strings, a metronome, percussion, a synthetic horn section, strings, electric guitar, and leaves everything feeling so fake. Tracy was able to draw in the listener with her genuine sounding vocals. Here, it's another corny karaoke cover with no passion, soul, or feeling to it whatsoever. A highlight for the Irish boy band whose career is predominantly propped up by relying on covers to bring in the bucks. And that is Lazy. And the biggest selling song of the 30th of November 1997 was Perfect Day by various artists. Originally written and performed by Lou Reed in 1972 for his second solo album Transformer, Perfect Day, like many songs I've talked about in the past, is a track that has been covered by a multitude of artists over the years, and in this case it was released as the 1997 charity single for the BBC UK charity Children in Need. Including artists such as Lou Reed himself, Bono, David Bowie, Gabrielle, Heather Small and Elton John, just to name a few, this track held the top spot for 3 non-consecutive weeks, has sold over 1.5 million copies since November 2012, has contributed over £2.1 million for that particular year, and as of this recording, is one of the top 30 biggest selling singles in the UK of all time. The original was delivered with a sombre vocal, fronted by a piano-based instrumental, and lyrically, there are many theories that suggest that the song alludes to Reed, referring to his history of drug use, his sexuality, and his ego. Although having read the lyrics, they do support the idea of a simple love song about Reed spending the day with his romantic interest. I think I get the idea as to why this song would be chosen as a charity song. The alleged perfect day symbolising the donation of funds to go towards a good cause. Yet it's hard to shake off what the song is supposed to be about. Yeah, there are occasions where the artist can bring a new meaning to a song, but in this case, that's never going to happen. The instrumentation in the re-release is pretty much the same. It doesn't deviate away from the 70s version, but as for a song itself, yeah, it's a good song. There we go, those were the top 10 biggest selling songs on the 30th of November 1997. What do you guys think of the songs? Do you like them, hate them? Do you agree with my opinions, disagree with them? However you feel, leave your opinions in the comment section below. I welcome all comments. And like I said, this is the last Charts of the Past episode for 2015. And until this segment comes back in January, and until the next video, I'm That Song Review Guy, and take care.